Safe. From KCRG TV9, this is First Alert Weather Now.
And good evening, folks. Welcome to First Alert Weather Now for your Tuesday evening election night special. We will not be talking about election results, but instead a little bit of a closer look at your forecast is a little bit of a side show here for the evening.
That's right. If you need a little bit of a break from the hectic election day excitement, we have the weather to talk about.
For sure. And there is a decent amount to talk about. We have a storm system departing, another one arriving in time for the weekend, and more to come after that. And we also have a little look at another question from a viewer here in Eastern Iowa.
That's right. We have another question from a student in Iowa City. He'll be asking his question in just a few minutes.
And of course, I, as an Iowa City kid, big fan of that. But first, what you need to know if you are headed out this evening.
We are looking at the rain finally leaving eastern Iowa, which is actually some pretty great news. The last couple of days have been very soggy. There are just a couple of little isolated showers we're seeing down left in Cedar County, a couple of little sprinkles traveling through Alameda County, but those are going to continue to move to the east, and as the rain exits, the clouds are going to clear out a little bit too. We saw that a little bit on our Dubuque City cam before the sun set. Temperatures are in the 50s. We're at 55 in Cedar Rapids, 58 in Iowa City, and 59 in Washington, with winds mainly coming out of the west around 10 to 15 miles per hour. This is what we're tracking here in the Weather Lab. Our first alert forecast shows some drier conditions Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. Sunshine returning, which will be a welcome sight. It will be comfortable too in terms of temperatures. Highs just a tad above seasonal over the next several days. Very fall-like for our November days, and rain is going to come back. Don't expect the same dry conditions we had several weeks ago. We're going to see more chances for scattered showers as we look ahead to the weekend. But going in more detail in our evening planner, we're going to see temperatures drop into the 30s overnight. 40 degrees by 3 a.m., 38 degrees by 6 a.m. with winds out of the northwest 5 to 15, and of course those clearing clouds, Corey.
That sounds like if you still need to head to the polls, which you still have a little time to do when we were here live with you this evening, you got a shot, and then just grab a coat. You should be in good shape.
Yeah, just a coat. Looks like the rain is exiting the area, so that is good news if you have to do some last-minute voting.
Yeah, for sure. And there are more things happening this week than just the election. Meteorologist Joe Winters has tonight's forecast for fun.
There is never a lack of things to do in eastern Iowa, so that's why every night we bring you your forecast for fun. That fun tomorrow may include a walk. Now, if you're going out, you are going to find some mostly sunny to partly cloudy skies. With that, temperatures in the 50s. That's not only true tomorrow, but it's true all the way through Friday. So it should be a nice time to get out and enjoy a walk outdoors. Certainly today, we ended up with rain. It was hard to take that walk. Ladies' night is in West Branch. That comes up on Wednesday from 5 to 8 o'clock. You can eat, shop, and explore. Light northerly winds, temperatures in the 40s and 50s. Dress appropriately if you're headed out to ladies' night. Driftless birding day in Lansing. That comes up on Saturday. Bird watching, guest speakers, self-guided tours. The rain will be possible with 53 degrees. Just want to prepare for that. And don't forget the Holiday Arts Festival at the Waterloo Center for the Arts happens Friday and Saturday. Friday looks dry with 57, 54 degrees on Saturday. We certainly bring that rain back in the forecast. College football approaches as well as we head into the weekend. 63 for Iowa's kickoff at UCLA. Iowa State at Kansas, 56 degrees. And Illinois State comes to UNI. Temperatures of 54 degrees. Of course, outside the dome, some rain. Does look like we could see some rain in Kansas for that Iowa State game. That's a 2:30 kickoff and an 8 p.m. kickoff for the Hawkeyes out in California. Looks like the weather's going to cooperate for most things on your forecast for fun.
Now, your First Alert forecast with meteorologist Corey Thompson.
Another wet one in eastern Iowa for at least parts of the day. There was a little band of rainfall that set up from down near Sigourney up through Cedar Rapids and up toward Prairie du Chien. Kind of sat there for a good portion of the day. So Cedar Rapids recorded 3/4 of an inch of rain since midnight. Iowa City about 1/3 of an inch. Same in Dubuque. Now we're missing a little bit of data in Manchester, for example, but other areas surrounding that band, we're talking 1/10 of an inch instead of 1/4 or 1/3. Now that's not the total picture, of course. It's been raining off and on since about Saturday, and total since it started on Saturday. Dubuque just shy of 3 inches. Old Wine just about 2 3/4. Waterloo about 2 1/2. Cedar Rapids got about 2 1/3 inches. Iowa City 1.85. Remember, November is heading into the drier season of the year, so our rainfall totals with just this event, in some cases, already above the normals for the month. And we have more to come potentially as soon as just a few days from now. But tonight we are mostly dry, as Hannah showed you at the top of the show. Our North Liberty City Cam shows those blustery conditions that are still out there. Those winds coming from the west or northwest about 5 to 15 miles per hour, adding a little extra chill to these temperatures, which have not fallen too fast. That's the good news there. We're still in the 50s around the area. Now, your first alert, all green across the board over the next 24 hours. We're not expecting big disruptive weather once this wind begins to die down this evening and whatever leftover light shower activity we have. Now, I can't totally rule out a little bit of drizzle. We see maybe a little bit of sign of that here in Johnson and Lynn counties and down toward the Lone Tree area. A few light showers up in Alameda and Clayton counties and a few scattered showers out ahead of the cold front that continues to move through. Your first alert forecast overnight for all of us will involve cooler temperatures. 34 degrees tonight in Charles City, 40 in Washington. So a little bit warmer the farther southeast you are, but not by a really severe amount. We're all expected to get fairly chilly as those clouds continue to decrease. Here you see it on Pinpoint Futurecast. Those little light scattered showers, especially here in our far eastern counties. And then those clouds that we have left will slowly break up. I think there will still be some around by tomorrow morning, but we'll at least see an opportunity for clear skies and sunnier conditions to start off your Wednesday. Mix of sun and clouds as we go through the Wednesday afternoon hours too. Most of those winds stay from a northeasterly direction. It's going to keep things cooler tomorrow than they otherwise have been over the past few days. In fact, your first alert forecast for Wednesday, 50 in Decorah and Fayette, 53 in Washington, 57 in Iowa City. Variation depending on how much sunshine you see. It looks like our northern zones may be the ones that are a little bit more in line to keep a bit cloudier, and thus their temperatures are a little bit lower. Now, in terms of our winds, they will be lighter tomorrow, Thursday and Friday. So we've got some decent conditions. This time of year, it can be fairly windy, and Saturday and Sunday brings that back. That's when we have the opportunity for more rain. You see this area of showers and maybe a little bit of embedded thunder, but probably staying to our south. Starts to move in Friday night into early Saturday. Now, that does set up a pretty wet start to the weekend where we could have a good amount of rainfall around, but by the end of it, a little bit more scattered as this area of low pressure continues to track off to the northeast. We are hopeful there that we can catch a little bit of a break for your Sunday. Now, your 9-day does involve temperatures that will be in the 50s Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. Same Saturday and Sunday, despite that increase in rain and some cloud cover. Early next week, a little bit of a warm up. It's modest, but it pushes us back into the 60s in some cases by Tuesday. And Tuesday night and Wednesday brings another opportunity for some rain. So we are keeping things still fairly active after we got that stretch of more active weather recently, Hannah.
And it's great to see the more active pattern. The rain that's been falling in eastern Iowa has kind of helped in the terms of it was just so dry earlier in the fall. Hopefully this Thursday we'll get to see it put a dent in our drought.
Yeah, I think we've talked about in the past, it can be a bit of a nice banking of some moisture for the spring too. We get that water into the ground where it's been lacking, and that sets us up for a nice growing season next year too.
Yep, good news for the farmers.
Indeed.
Now we're going to talk about, of course, this week's weather-wise question. Our question is from Iowa City.
What are tornadoes?
Thank you so much for that question. Tornadoes are funnels of winds with high speeds. So they come off of very strong storms, and this is how they typically form. So we have winds at the surface going in one direction and at one speed, and we have winds higher up in the atmosphere going at another speed fairly quickly. The winds higher up in the atmosphere are going to be a little bit faster than the winds at the bottom. And these different wind speeds in different directions cause rotating columns of air to form. And these rotating columns of air can actually get tilted upward by strong thunderstorms, thunderstorm updrafts. These are the air in thunderstorms going into the storm and feeding it. So as the air goes from the ground up into the storm, it can take that rotating column of air and it can tilt it vertically, and then the storm can start to form that tornado with the spinning air that is now in the atmosphere. So then we get that tornado to start to form. First, we've got the wall cloud. It descends from the cloud and then we see a funnel form, and then if that funnel reaches the ground, it is classified as a tornado. So a tornado is a funnel of high winds from the cloud all the way to the ground, and the high winds associated with that tornado is what typically causes the damage that you get from tornadoes. Now, tornadoes can form with different strengths, all the way from EF1 up to EF5 strength. EF1 tornadoes can break windows and cause damage to mobile homes, but the stronger tornadoes, they can cause well-constructed homes to be swept away, and it can completely debark trees. EF4 tornadoes can also destroy well-constructed homes. So when a tornado watch, warning, or emergency is issued, you really do need to take that into consideration. We've got that tornado watch, which means you just need to be prepared for a tornado to develop. A tornado warning, which means that a tornado has been spotted in the area and you need to get to shelter as quickly as possible. And a tornado emergency is a pretty rare situation when we have a particularly strong tornado potentially on the ground that could do some pretty catastrophic damage. Now, this is some of the data we have on confirmed tornadoes in Iowa since 2023, actually. In 2023, we had 72 tornadoes. That isn't the most we've ever had, though. We have had some years with over 100 tornadoes. 2004, 120, 2008, 105. And we actually, in Iowa this year, broke the record for the number of tornadoes that developed. So in 2004, 120 tornadoes developed in 2004. This year, 2024, we've had 122 tornadoes. So we are seeing potentially an increase in tornadoes, mainly because of the amount of people out being able to see it with all of our radar data. We have satellite imagery. We have storm chasers all being able to get better reads on how many tornadoes develop inside that storm. Now, if you would like to get your answer question here on Weather Now, head over to kcrg.com/unews. Corey?
Awesome. Thank you, Hannah. Luckily, no tornadoes in the near future here in eastern Iowa, at least over the next few days. We have mostly sunny skies instead. We're going to keep things pretty dry as we look ahead over the next few. Temperatures will actually trend just ever so slightly upward as we finish up the week. You see that slight increase on this graph. Then we kind of hold steady into the weekend as we see some rain and clouds return, a slight bump early next week. That's when our next storm system will be arriving. Out ahead of it after we see these days in the 50s with that rain chance Friday night to Saturday. We showed you that moments ago. A few showers could linger on Sunday, but Veterans Day itself looks like it should be in pretty good shape. Tuesday also mostly dry, but it's later Tuesday into Wednesday when we have our next storm system providing us a little bit of an opportunity for some rain. We see here on Pinpoint Futurecast, well, it's not loading in just like I thought it would, but there is that chance for some shower and storm activity moving into the area as we get closer to that time frame. So yeah, an active weather pattern continues here over the course of the next 9 days. For the most of it, though, temperatures will be above normal by at least a handful of degrees, both during the night and during the day. See the very tail end, our only high there in the 40s, which by that point in the calendar actually is pretty close to normal. Our normal high today is 50, and we were, well, pretty far above that, at least for most of the day.
We've been above normal for the last several weeks. It's kind of nice to see the temperatures starting to drop, being a bit more appropriate at the end of the 9 day. Yeah,
it's closer for sure than it was for most of October. That's the good sign there.
Yeah.
Oh, thanks for joining us here tonight. We will be back here tomorrow night, same time, same place. Have a great rest of the night.